Hi, and welcome to the SI Experience, Chris Doughty. We've got a great day today, which is going to be very intriguing. We're going to have a lot of you out there. We've had a lot of questions already. So today is going to be very much something around introducing to the mentor team today. Again, we are always dealing with so many people, and so it's only fair to bring those people to you. So again, today, any questions, anything at all, please in the comments, put anything or questions. Please don't be shy. Please say hello, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Facebook. Today's going to be live Q&A for you guys. We've already got a load of questions already, but the key thing is that all of you just please don't be shy. And then for those who are live, we've got a very special offer for you today. So I'm going to bring in the team slowly. And so we're going to bring in Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie.
Hi.
We've got Mark. We've got Adam. We've got the whole hog. Hello. And I think we've just got the man of the hour. He's just turned up. So
hi, everybody.
Turns off your phone, whatever that is. So, yeah, we've got the full team today, and we've got a nice background with all of the mentees and stuff. So, hey guys, obviously I talk to you all the time and all the rest of it says hello and more for everybody else. We've just said to everybody, please don't be shy. Please make sure that you've, answering questions. We've already got sort of 20 people looking at it already. So please continue, bring anybody else in. So today, guys, we're just going to this is for everybody and, jump in. Oh, it's increasing quickly now. Any comments at any time, anybody? So really what we wanted to start with is obviously it's an interesting time. We are all working, ourselves on our own property businesses and whatever it may be, and dealing with our mentees and also potential future mentees. So really what I wanted to start this off is, and probably coming to you, Adam, just to start with, is for everybody on the call and watching, how are you seeing the property market yourself? I know you've just completed on a commercial building just on Friday. So, just from your situation, just for everybody here on the call, what are your thoughts on the current market? How's COVID affected, etc.? It'd be really interesting. Start us off.
Yeah, I'll talk about my experience currently with a commercial building. I'm just purchasing 2 commercial buildings. The purchase process started in around December, November last year, and we had the valuations done and we had the surveyors going out. And since COVID has occurred, commercial lending has really tightened up. Sometimes it's non-existent, or the lenders are requiring far more security. So they want larger deposits, they want personal guarantees, and in my circumstances, they wanted debentures on a couple of my other personal limited companies that really had nothing to do with the acquisition of the property. So generally speaking, from a commercial perspective, at least, or the commercial lenders, there's been a bit of worry. And subsequently, I've now resorted to using cash to purchase one of the commercial buildings. That's also good because we've managed to negotiate a discount in the current climate, because arguably commercial, it's going to be an interesting time for commercial, I think, over the next 6 months to 12 months. Now, we intend to run it as commercial, but also we have a planning uplift play where we could convert it to residential as well. We've got lots of options. Whenever I invest in property, I always like to have lots of options and lots of exits, and also ensure that we can hold the property for a long period of time, regardless of COVID, Brexit, everything else. So all in all, it hasn't slowed me down in that regard. When we talk about HMOs, initially the lenders were a little bit swamped in the UK, at least. They had to deal with a lot of people who were losing jobs, couldn't make mortgage repayments, and so a lot of the new lending or remortgaging really slowed down. That's now coming back. Initially, the loan to values as well were reducing, 65%, that kind of area. They're now coming back to 75%, 80%. I have found with some lenders that I'm dealing with, they won't entertain additional lending at this moment in time. So as an option to try and buy one of the commercial blocks, I was trying to get some second charge lending against a property. Yeah, my existing lender wasn't keen to do that in the current climate, understandable as well. So I think all in all, it's like anything, there's ups and downs and round and market conditions and so on. You just, if you're a good investor, you've got good knowledge and you know how to execute with a good power team, you'll find a way through. And that's really the mindset you have to have with property investment, full stop.
And so, Mark, from your side is, I know again you're continuing to be active during this period, and from a bit more of an up north play, a bit more residential. What have you been seeing yourself? I mean, from my side, I've definitely seen there's so much talk of opportunity, and it generally is. I think there's a lot of opportunity going to be out there. But what have you found yourself during this period, and what are you most excited about over the next sort of 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think you put your finger on it there, Chris. It's the opportunity that's going to emerge in the months ahead. I think as we come out of lockdown, there are going to be some fantastic buying opportunities. There are going to be a number of motivated sellers around, simply because people, unfortunately, are going to lose their jobs. People may have reduced incomes, even if they don't lose their jobs. Other people might need to raise cash to support their own businesses. And so I think people are going to be looking to turn houses into cash in short time frames. And that creates opportunities to give them a solution that they want and value, but also for ourselves to get more value in the purchases we're making. And we always make our money in property when we buy, not at the point at which we sell. So now is the time to be active. I'm having some similar success to Adam. In fact, I've had a great morning. I've had terms come through on a remortgage and an uplift in the mortgage on my own home, which will give me a pot of capital to play with. I've also had another offer come through, which is a second mortgage top up on my residential property, not a commercial property. If that first mortgage hadn't come through, I was pursuing two financing options. Funny enough, they both landed this morning, so that's great news. I'm working on a couple of other refinancings, two properties that we bought in cash through a joint venture I have with Hong Kong investors. We're working there with one of the lenders that will work with companies that have non-resident directors and shareholders. Their surveyors are now active again. On Friday, they confirmed the appointments to go and view our properties. So we'll get those valuations done. That will then free up some more capital. And again, we're going to be looking to go out over the next months and buy some more, in that case, simple buy-to-let properties. So there are going to be some great opportunities around, and the market is moving again.
And let's go a bit further, because we've got such a wide-ranging team here. Anthony, you're based in SA. Have you found the market at the moment? Down there, whether it be for property or just in general. You've got a property here in the UK, but from an SA perspective, I guess just as a bit of a comparison to what would happened here in the UK or other major cities around the world, what have you found so far, and what's the appetite for people there in general? Can you hear me, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to the UK. Yes, sorry. Yeah, very similar to the UK. We're having people concerned about the long-term things and what's going to happen to them in the future. And I was just talking to my letting agent, for example. He does, a majority of his income comes from holiday lets, which now, of course, is non-existent in South Africa. We're only level 3. So we're looking at level 1 before that even comes back into play. So he's got a long wait for that. So he's now looking at disposing one of his properties to get some extra cash in order to keep his business going. So I think we're going to have a lot of that, of people looking at their extra houses, their commercial buildings, and selling that off to get extra money back into the business to keep them through this whole process, because who knows how long this will take. The politicians are talking about guidelines and timeframes, but how long will they be? We don't know. We're only in level 3. So exactly the same thing. Lots of opportunities over here. The downside with South Africa is the lending is much higher, so it is still quite expensive for people to buy, but there are definitely more opportunities coming about. And so for the people that have saved up their money or got their things ready, there'll be a lot of opportunities, definitely, moving forward.
And I think one of the biggest things, what we're all describing here is opportunity, yes, but I think a key crucial aspect of this is mindset and mindset around, when everybody, I think the word that I like to use is confidence. When the market, at the end of the day, markets are a reflection of confidence levels, whether that be in the property market, whether it be stocks and shares, whether it be representation of the FTSE 100, and that confidence, as of 6 weeks ago, whether it be 2 months ago, got massively damaged, and hence the reflection of stock markets dropping, confusion, uncertainty, and I think now that confidence is slowly coming back in realizing that the world isn't absolutely on its knees, but again, there's going to be some economic impacts for sure, because you can't just stop economies for 6 weeks at a time. But mindset from an individual perspective, and this is where I'm going to come to you, Bonnie. is really around. I mean, you've had some great success with your mentees, and I'm going to name names. It's a guy called Bowen who's fantastic, and I think you work very hard with your mentees on that mindset and what that means to either be outside of their comfort zone. We're talking about confidence, not just in the market, but in themselves. So, you know, for anybody on the call here, you know, what, from your perspective, mindset aspects are crucial when operating in these kind of markets of uncertainty, or do they even worry about that? Do they just actually look introspective into themselves?
It's a combination of both, Chris. So with the mindset work that I do, it's actually finding where's their block or fear that they have within themselves that leads to the belief, the limiting belief that maybe I can't do this, or maybe it's too hard, or it works for that person, but it doesn't work for me. So it's really finding out where does that nugget sit, and then removing that, just really working with them to show them that, look, you've got everything that you need. You've got your mentors around you. You've got a whole heap of tools, basically, that can take you forward. And actually knowing their numbers are critical. So knowing where you are, so that you've got a very clear starting point of actually where you are, what your finances are looking like, and really drilling down into that is so important that you don't try and fudge that, because if you do, it's like a sat nav. You're not going to get to where you need to get to if you tell the sat nav you're in the wrong place from a starting point. So then that's really key. And then actually where you want to get to, be really clear about where you're going and how we're going to get there. And yes, there'll be stepping stones along the way, and you might fall off the track, but that's okay. That's part of the journey. But the real thing is to look at it from a 360-degree perspective and understanding that whilst you're going to make mistakes, let's mitigate any risks of those mistakes costing you vast amount of money, which is where the mentors come into perspective. The content that we deliver as a whole and as individuals, when we support them through their year's journey with us, is really crucial. The main thing is, though, is that it doesn't matter how much content we give these mentees, it's actually that they are taking the action, that they're implementing the steps that we're taking. And that's what I found with Bowen specifically. All the mentees will take action. He's got a very compelling story, which I won't go into. I'll leave him to talk about that himself. And so he's taken massive action to the point where he secured his first property. He's actually completed on that on Friday, and he's in the process of doing his second. But it is a case of finding in themselves, where is that belief that they can't do it? Because I believe we've all got the tools to do what we're here to do. It's just literally uncovering where you think you can't, and then show that individual that actually, here's your tools, here's your resources, now tap into them. Yeah,
and I think just again put that in perspective. Sorry, I'm gonna change the view because Bonnie's behind the logo at the top right, which is a bit unfair. And just to put that in perspective, I think Bowen came in March. Was it March?
January.
January was it?
So February, beginning of February, we really worked.
So beginning of February, he's been on his mentorship. He's obviously worked on all of the learning aspects of it. Obviously, continued to work on, the operational execution. And again, for everybody on here, Bowen has actually executed. I think he's now got another offer accepted on another property as well. And that's all during COVID. That's all during, the deal that we've seen he's got through SI, he's been working very closely with actually a new sourcer who came on, which he's utilising directly. And again, it's just such a blend of the learning, the mindset, the operational execution, utilising the tools. And these are the things that we all just try and drill into people from experience, right? This is designed for you. There is no point in taking massive risks by just hoping you're going to buy something and hope it works. This is a true, genuine story and Bowen. Again, we're going to have him. So anybody on the call here today, Bowen's hopefully going to come on Thursday. We're going to talk. He's going to personally talk about his journey. But he was the most nervous person coming to the UK. All of the issues that he had with his training that was aligned with another organisation. Really concerning. And I think we spent hours talking with him about should he come and should he not. And now, if we look at him being that sort of nervous, very not knowing, unsure person, to now actually watching him execute well. I mean, the conversations that we can see on the system, you know, the right questions he's asking, the right kind of information he's receiving and demanding. It genuinely is a really good news story, especially in this environment that everybody else is running
quickly as well. And there are considerable challenges in the market, which is great.
Exactly. So we're getting. So I think that's great. But I appreciate, you know, all your comments on that. And I'm sure that people are asking. We're now getting loads of questions now. Actually, what we'll do is we've got. I will take this question later on from Erica. Hi, David. Nice to see you as well. There's lots of love. Thank you for your time today, everybody. From Tim. As I say, Tim's there always. He's one of our most avid followers. Great guy. So what we're going to do, we've got some other questions which I'm going to sort of pick and choose, and I think we'll take those individually. Here's a good question which I think is very appropriate. Who's just gone? Adam's just gone. Never mind. First question is from Esther. Are people able to move into properties during lockdown? Mark, do you want to take this one?
Yes, they are. That has just opened up again. Viewings are now possible as of last week, and people can move into properties. Individual letting agents are designing their own procedures to make sure that people can get in safely. That might entail, for example, the agent arriving, going in, opening all the doors. The agent might not necessarily go into the property when the people check into the property, but it is possible at the moment now to move into properties.
Yeah, and just on a wider play for everybody not understanding, the government has allowed lettings agents, estate agents, and the property market to start again. Obviously, they are taking precautions relative to social distancing, etc. But again, we were talking about this probably a few weeks ago around there has to come a point where the market has to move again, and that is already happening. And again, a lot of the sourcing agents. Our sourcing agents, you will probably have seen consistently that they've been uploading during COVID, which has been deals through the pipeline that they've received prior to it, and also the market didn't really just completely stop even during it. And so from that perspective, we've just got another visitor. We've got Adam coming in, and just from another perspective, the fact is that if people want to make things happen, they can, and so now with the loosening of builders are able to go back to work, the property market, I mean, it's been announced in newspapers, all across the UK around what's happening. It's being released. And so I think there's a lot of confidence bounce back. And just to sort of give you an idea, and this is in one of the other aspects, is let's look at data. Rightmove a few days ago, 2,000 new properties were added to Rightmove in 5 hours. And again, that just sort of shows from a perspective, is the market going to be moving again? Well, the estate agents are, the housing market is, people are probably actually from their own personal perspective wanting to move because they've been cooped up for 2 months solid, right? So I know, or there may be other aspects that they needed in the property, including divorce. So this could be a lot of demand for a lot of housing, or at least a lot of rooms in HMOs for people who need temporary accommodation. So, without, on a serious note, the market is moving again, and we've got some other great questions. And again, some of these are sort of fundamental ones, not related to COVID either. This one is actually, so this is from Chris. If I buy now, and again, with the market moving, but will I be able to renovate and let my property out? Is probably a question. Anthony, we've kind of touched upon it from a Mark's perspective, but what's your take on this question? He's got a delay. He's in South Africa.
Was it me? Sorry.
Yes. So what would be your take around sort of being able to renovate and let it out?
Yeah, as Chris was saying, governments are looking at it, and so yes, you can do that at this stage, and there are precautions that builders are taking. So I was saying to a student the other day, we're having a whole building team coming all at once. It'll probably be more staggered, and they'll do it in different sections of the house and move through the process. But building teams have always done this beforehand. So I had one client saying, "Oh, I haven't got my current project." That's pretty normal. Building teams often have a group of guys starting off with the building project, start the renovation, then they bring their next team in, and so forth and so on afterwards. And they have different amount of people working on it because they have more than one job at any given time. If a builder's working on one job, I'm normally quite worried because where's the other work coming from and where else is he going to? So that's pretty normal. So can you renovate? Yes, most definitely. Will there be some delays? Well, there may be certain delays on certain things that might have to be ordered, windows or bathroom accessories, things like that might have a slight delay. But again, if you've got a great project manager, these things are forecasted, they can be pre-planned, and you can start looking at delivery dates. I know with my team, we're currently looking at where there are delays, how long things are taking. So we're ordering more on those items we're waiting for ahead of time, when normally we'd only apply for them closer to the time. So yeah, there's no need to stop or not go ahead. I mean, just it's a slower process maybe, and we're wearing more masks and washing our hands more frequently. But the show's still going on, people.
And just from my own personal perspective, that's been quite close to me is my parents are building their home from scratch as it stands at the moment, and they're getting towards the back end of that. Now there a few delays. Yes, they were waiting for kitchen tops because the builders merchants were closed, etc. But they were still able to do certain aspects of the property even during COVID. And now that the building merchants are opened up, the materials are available. They are full steam ahead. And so again, it's really about the attitude. It's not saying don't follow regulations, but I think a lot of things, and we've shown it by a lot of businesses moving online, for example, of getting things and adapting to the situations. And that's a crucial sort of, I would sort of thought process that we all try to talk to our mentees and anybody who we work with. Is you've got to be adaptable, because life changes all the time. Nothing is static and standard. So if you're not adaptable, then you're going to wither. And so this is a big part of the whole process and mindset that we teach. We've got a question here from Erica. This is maybe one for me, maybe more so. So which UK cities do you source the most? Erica, I'm going to interpret this question in the sense of which cities in the UK does SI have sourcing agents, and therefore the platform itself. The platform itself is completely nationwide. We have sourcing agents from Glasgow all the way down to Plymouth, which is on the south coast of England. Predominantly, we have a lot of typical sourcing agents along what we call the M62 corridor, which is from Hull across sort of Doncaster, Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, slightly below that, Birmingham, Coventry. And 2 weeks ago, we brought on 15 new sourcing agents. And we've had a massive boost, which we're very excited about, working with another company who are providing sourcing agents through their trainings. And so therefore, these guys have now finished their trainings and are now wanting to operate in a secure, trusted environment. So from the sourcing agent's perspective, we're getting a massive drive of people wanting to utilize our system to work with good investors. And so therefore, everything is happening in a very good way. Investors are coming through quite significantly. We had over 4,500 people come to the site last month alone. And so it's the whole ecosystem is building. So to answer your question, it's not about which areas do we source in, it's what area suits you and your strategy and what you want to achieve with your investing goals. And that might be a question that you would have with your mentor or somebody who you know very well, who's actually been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. So thanks for your question, Erica. I hope that answers that. We've got some other questions as well. So this is probably one for Mark. I'm sure you get this question all the time. Can I get a mortgage as a foreigner in the UK, or must I buy cash?
No, you can get mortgages. That's the good news. There are a limited number of lenders who will provide mortgages to companies that have non-resident directors or non-resident shareholders. We work with a couple of brokers through the Sourcing Investments platform who do specialize in dealing with those lenders. Okay, so you can definitely get mortgages. It's not that great a range of lenders at the moment. I think what will happen as we see some normality return, the market stabilize, and particularly now, I think we've almost forgotten about Brexit and the uncertainty that created in the market. That caused a lot of lenders to become more cautious vis-a-vis non-resident owned companies. But I think as we come out of COVID and as we get through Brexit, I think we'll see more lenders coming to the market prepared to lend to companies that do have non-resident directors and shareholders. But yes, you can get lending as of today.
And again, I just wanted to highlight that a little bit more in depth is how you structure your company structure and who's on there as directors all can affect your lending availability. So again, getting into the real micromanagement of it, anybody who has over 20% shareholding has to be recognized and has to have due diligence done on them. So again, just putting your wife, just putting your cousin on there isn't necessarily the best option. So again, there's a lot more intrinsic detail that you need to understand to give you the best opportunity to attain lending, whether it be for acquisition or whether it be for refinance as well. So
can be a helpful option to put relatives on if they are resident in the UK. That opens up other possibilities for you, but they've got to be the right people. So you need to look at that very carefully, discuss that with the broker.
It's a very case-by-case basis, and we say this all the time, case-by-case, understanding your situation. And again, this is the benefits of having experienced mentors and et cetera, who have been through it with many, many people, discovered all of the pitfalls and what's not. And so we can accelerate that easiest journey for you. So in actual fact, that leads us to a really good question. I'm going to put this to. I'm going to put this to Adam, actually. So Adam, we've got a question here. You seem to be popping in and out. I don't know if it's your internet connection in sunny Reading.
Yeah, it is.
So
it should be stable now.
We've got Stephen, and I think this is a real question. I don't want to take this, but why should I use SI, and why don't I just buy a property and do it directly? What would be your take on that to anybody thinking of that? Whether they are international or even a UK person who is not necessarily a full-time investor?
Yeah, very good question. The only thing that I would say is that it assumes that finding a deal is an easy thing to do. Anybody with any experience in this game, you will know that the deal is the hardest thing to do by miles. If you are not familiar with an area, then it makes sense that you would go and talk to potentially estate agents in an area who understand the area. But what is an estate agent's agenda, or what is their job? Is to sell the seller's house for the maximum price possible most of the time. That's a very generalized comment, but that is their job. What is a deal sourcer's job? It's meant to try and get the price of the house down, meant to try and get you a deal and be able to see an angle on it that maybe an estate agent can't see. So if you are happy to spend the time in doing the due diligence, traveling to the area, if you're self-managing and looking after it yourself and building up your team, then fine, by all means, that's great, and crack on with it. However, relationships take time to build. Like any relationships in life, they take the best part of 6 to 8 months. You need to get to know, like, and trust. You also, it depends on your end goals, but if you're looking to expand, well, if you build relationships up with good deal sources in the area, you're going to continually get more deals. So in the long run, yes, okay, you might have to pay a deal sourcing fee, but you should be making far more money back than that initial fee that you have to be paying the deal sourcer. A deal sourcer is like any other member of your power team. And if you get experienced in this game, you have lots of people in that power team, from solicitors to mortgage brokers to numerous advisors. And deal sourcer is one of them. So really, in a nutshell, if you want to go and do everything bootstrapped, then by all means you can do. If you want to be able to move at speed, volume, and grow, then rely on professional teams. And of course, they're going to charge for their services like any other service in the world where there's a professional person or professional team who know what they're doing.
And Mark, from your side, why should people use SI? And again, I don't really want to be the architect of this answer, because the whole thing of reason why I built it in the first place, there's so many reasons, and I don't want to be the deliverer of that. But for you being, a mentor and working with clients internationally, why should
the key points? All that Adam is saying is entirely valid. And then once you found the deal working with a sourcer, a key point becomes the protection that's available to you as an investor. I've worked with a number of international investors who've had problems, which are simply a function of being remote from the UK, not being on the ground, not able to follow up on a regular enough basis in person with the people who are actually managing the project, checking the work's being done. Sourcing investments gives you two very distinct features that are really helpful. Number one is the escrow account. So you put money into the escrow account, which gives the source of the builders the confidence to know that the money's there. Also gives you the confidence to know that the money will not be released until you're satisfied that the work has been done to the agreed standard and has reached the right stage. So your money is safe. You're not making big advance payments, which I know in the past a number of overseas investors have done and have come unstuck, working with rogue builders or whatever it might be. Okay, so you've now got that protection by having your money protected through the escrow account. You also have the communication area where all your dealings with the sourcing agent can be recorded. Okay, now that's very important, because if there is to be any disagreement down the road, and things can and do go wrong in property, okay, it's good to be able to check back to who said what. Okay, now, WhatsApp is great as an instantaneous means of communication, but it can be very, very difficult to go back and find old messages. And it can then become a case of, well, he said, she said, etc., etc. When you've got that secure conversation area, all the exchanges have been recorded. So it's very easy to check back and look at what was discussed, what was agreed. If there is to be any kind of dispute, sourcing investments will get involved and help you to mediate that dispute. Okay, and they have a record there of the discussions that have taken place. If those discussions have taken place outside of the portal, then you're basically left to your own devices in terms of trying to resolve the problem, because there is no physical record of what was actually said and agreed. So I think those two features are very important protections to investors, particularly if you're investing from a remote location.
Couldn't have said anything better myself. I appreciate that. And it's very true that these systems have been designed to solve problems that we see consistently. And again, I think the people who are going through it, like a Bowen, like many of the, over 400 people who have been through the process, are noticing that control that they have as the investor is now in their hands. And it's not just now completely relying upon the usual, oh, I know somebody, he's a good egg. Well, in actual fact, now it's all about you can control it step by step. So we've got a good question here. It's from David. I know David very well. He's obviously putting me on the spot. David's one of my mentees. So how is SI ensuring that all the sourcing agents keep up with the standard and quality of service? To answer your question there, David, is very, very simple. How do we keep up with the standards is really now down to the platform itself allows the visibility of you to see the status of that sourcing agent. So every single property has the profile information of the sourcer, and live at that time allows you to see if they are compliant, if they have done all of their advanced due diligence, and allows you to make a decision on who their company is and whether you want to work with them. And so therefore that transparency in itself allows you to ensure of who you are working with. We're providing the systems and the transparency for that, but at the end of the day, this is now about, if the deal is good, you can now make a decision on who you work with. And it's not just, oh, here's a sourcing agent, I don't know who he is, I've been recommended from a friend. It now makes everybody accountable. And just going back to what Mark said, and then you've got the systems and tools of how you proceed. So really it's down to yourself and looking at what the information we provide. We have a certified sourcing agent program as well, which not all sources are advanced to. This makes sure that we go and see them on the ground, we go and visit their power teams. And so therefore, that's just another level of you seeing what we have done at the time that you're engaging with that person or that business. And so really the power is in your hands. And that's what SI wants to deliver, is you being in control, not just throwing dice, and hoping that it lands on the number that you want. This is not about chance. This is about control and process. And so therefore, everything about SI has been designed for that. And good question. Adam's still struggling with his internet. That's not a problem. He'll be back in a minute. Here's a good question from Tim. Do you guys have any thoughts on how long the COVID lending criteria were gone for past the lockdown? And do you think the lower LTVs will last a while longer or until after Brexit? Mark, you're detailed. You love this. Get all over it.
I think it's starting to change already.
Yes.
I've got a couple of mortgage brokers I'm working with, and they're telling me they're having informal discussions at this point with senior people within the commercial mortgage lenders, and they are giving every indication that the mortgage lenders are looking to increase their LTVs as soon as possible. Yeah. The commercial lenders make their money by lending money. They've got budgets they need to hit. Okay, they've got businesses to run. They want to lend money. They basically found themselves pretty much on hold for 2 to 3 months now. There's some catching up to do. They want to lend. They want to get the money out the door. So I think we're seeing criteria relaxing already, certainly in the bridging market. The bridging lenders are already going back towards 70, 75% LTVs. And I don't think the commercial mortgage loans are going to be too far behind. I've got one mortgage loan in process of refinance at the moment. We're going ahead. The application's gone in on Friday. Initial indications are it will be a 70% mortgage, but my broker fully expects them to be back to 75 by the time we complete the process.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic I can pull a bit more cash out.
And that positivity is reflected in a lot of the markets, in the sense of, I just think that confidence is coming back. The principle that everything is built upon is lending, whether it comes from the banks or the government or borrowing. And so therefore, that mechanism has to kick in. It has to kick in again for the world that we know to exist. Because, as I say, it's all built on lending and borrowing. And so therefore, we're seeing that positivity return. And the updates from, again, what you've just said yourself, the updates from the brokers is very much that positivity is coming back. Don't forget that the lenders and the banks have had to help the government with not only just lending, but actually lending for the COVID loans, so the business support loans. They've been doing a lot of administration on behalf of the government, which the government is a lot of the time, not just here in the UK, they make policies and decisions and don't actually understand the operational execution and what it's going to take. And so now that is slowing down, and I think the focus will now be back to business lending. Property market is now open for business and opportunities are there. So yes.
Something else that's freeing up is their human resource. They've had to divert resources to processing applications from borrowers for the mortgage holidays. And again, I think people who are applying for those have pretty much got their applications in by now. And I think they're through the bulk of the processing for that. There's still some admin to unwind as people resume payments again. And that's bringing people back onto the lending side. And just on that score, there's been much debate in the UK about whether or not taking a mortgage holiday will affect your credit rating. Okay, there is a common view that says no, it will have no impact on your credit rating. That's been the public pronouncement. Personally, I would not take a mortgage holiday unless you really need it, because at the end of the day, when you're filling in your mortgage application forms and you're asked, have you ever entered into any kind of arrangement with your lender, you must answer yes. If you've taken a mortgage holiday, the answer must be yes. They will ask to see bank statements, okay, and they will see if there is a 2, 3, 4 month gap in terms of your mortgage payments. They will know that you've taken the holiday. Okay, they will know that you didn't have an adequate liquidity buffer to see you through this crisis. What I've actually done since the start of the crisis, I've actually stuck another £10,000 into my company, and I've just left it sitting in my bank account, just so that I'm evidencing extra liquidity, because I know in the months and over the next couple of years, lenders are going to want to know how I fared through COVID. I want to show that I've got a good sizable cash balance there as a buffer that will give the lenders more confidence in lending to me. So don't take holidays if at all you can avoid it, and where possible, evidence more liquidity in your companies. That will stand you in good stead going forward.
So great advice there and tips. And I think, again, this is all about individual personal opinion. This is not, I'd like to point out, it's not, what's the word? We're not sat with the mortgage lender panels, etc., who are going to take those positions. At the end of the day, there is a lot of people who have engineered and take advantage of the support from the government. I think at the end of the day, you take a personal position of what that means to you. But you are correct, Mark. You're probably going to have to disclose did you take a mortgage holiday, because let's be honest, they're saying it now, but I think in the future they will very much want to know what did you do during that harsh period. So I think it's good advice.
And there's plenty of support for individuals. So certainly on my own portfolio, I'm having a continuing good experience in terms of rent collections. No issues, because tenants are getting support from the government.
Some great advice. There's a bit of Tony, bit of love from Tony, Mark, etc.
Sorry, Chris.
Yes, Anthony.
That's a very valid point. When I was speaking to quite a few students all over the world. So we're talking about, you know, US, we're talking about Africa, people losing their jobs. And I said, that's one good reason why you should invest in the UK. Because when things happen like this, you know, the government steps in, and if someone loses their job, they can then go and get housing allowances, they can get support. A lot of countries don't have that wealth on that experience that the UK has. But we've been having this, you know, situation of people being supported for, you know, since after the wars. So very much so, they are supported there. So when I heard about the crisis, my concern wasn't about the UK, my portfolio. My concern was everything else that I had in South Africa and other countries. That was the concern, because will those governments be able to support those people? And in most cases, they wouldn't be. You know, they're offering 80% of the wages or even less. Where at least we know in the UK, if someone is really struggling, they can get help, even if they were working at a big company, as we all know.
Yeah.
You know, not always just people who've always been on benefits. So again, for people listening, if you're going to invest anywhere, you want to invest in the UK.
Yeah, and you know what, that leads me onto a nice question that's just come in from Jenny. So Jenny, and again, very poignant. Jenny has said, why should I learn about the UK property market and get mentored? Surely I can just buy easily. Bonnie, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, Jenny. I think it was Mark that touched on this before about with regards to, or even Adam, with regards to the importance of having your sourcing agent. So why should you learn about UK property market? We've literally just said how stable the market is, even in unstable times and uncertain times. The UK market is seen to be more stable than any other country across the planet. So if you're looking to keep funds secure, or as secure as possible, that would be the importance to invest in UK market. The significance about being mentored is that through our knowledge and training and guidance, it's a really important. So I had mentors before who really, and this really resonated with me because I climbed Kilimanjaro in 2017. Now, if you're going to climb Kilimanjaro, you just don't go up there on your own. You find yourself a good guide that has walked that path and can show you the way. So that's the importance of being mentored, is that you're going to have the good guidance, you're going to be given the tools, you're going to understand what's necessary and what's needed for that journey. And then through that journey, they guide you through the steps to prevent you from literally falling off the mountain. So that's the importance of being mentored and guided.
And I think hopefully today, Jenny, you've kind of just seen a bit of a snapshot as I say, we're a tight unit here. And the people on the call, Bonnie, Mark, Adam, and Anthony, we've been doing this for a long while ourselves individually. And I think there's been quite a bit of concern as to the quality of what I would call mentoring and companies offering it, which has been really sad to see, because I think, what that does is it creates a lot of nervousness in people as to, what should they trust or not. And I think, from our side, this is where we wanted to make a massive stand on this. As a company, yes, we've got the financial technology platform, but actually now doing it right with the front end as well. People who are wanting and knowing how to invest, but more importantly, having that long-term support. And that's a big stance that we've changed. It's not just about paying for us and then we'll see you later after you've done the training. We're committing to a long-term program, and really what this is about. And so we're very excited now. So I'm going to keep you guys there. And I'm just going to bring up what today is about. It's about the team. We've had some great questions, but I did say that there was going to be a bonus for everybody here today, live on the call, and it's only live on the call. So again, please stay around and watch this now. So what we've got here is I really wanted to go about what we've now launched and what we're about to launch. So the wider problem, which a lot of us absolutely are aware of low returns globally, finding performing assets. There's no easy way to do this. And most importantly is trust and security. And that's a concern for investors. It's a concern for anybody of power teams, etc., money movement. And the question is, where do you go to do this? And we talked about the benefits of the UK. We've got again, high level UK market conditions. We've got a population of 67 million people, mass housing shortage. We've had Brexit, we've got COVID, and it's created uncertainty. And really right now, not just around, we talked about funding, but in general funding availability for internationals and UK is fantastic. I mean, in the USA, they don't even have a buy-to-let product for investing, which is still mind-blowing me. And it just shows how advanced we are with regard to an entrepreneurial society, allowing, especially around the property market. And we continue to be a strong economy. And even a benefit to all the people on the call now who are international or not, the short-term impact on currency. And we had a very good situation where we were talking with Rob last week, which was around foreign exchange and currency. And suddenly, even in Hong Kong, you are now looking at 9.3 Hong Kong dollars to the pound. And that's nearly a 20% change to what it was in its peak. And so therefore, there's a double experience of an opportunity in foreign exchange, but also the actual market of property in itself. So we've now designed, and we've been implementing this for over a year and a half, 2 years now. Many of you have become exposed to it, have heard about it. We have now got this to now refined as a 1-year mentorship program. This mentorship program is designed for you. It's designed to be around your lives. And more importantly, it's designed for maximum learning and maximum implementation. Typically, what we're looking at is the investor training companies, which some of you may be aware of, are typically focused on exactly that, training and mentoring. And after you've done a bit of training and mentoring, they stop with their support. And it's very sad to see. And we see this from an SI perspective continually. And so we wanted to change that completely. It's not about how is it going to change your life. It's not about the glory stuff. It's not about how everything else is going to be changed. This is about now creating, more importantly, long-term support, but actually delivering it really and giving you the best environment to understand the bad, the good, the ugly, and more importantly, the tools on how to de-risk your position and how to also, more importantly, have success in what you've learned. We've designed this now not only around the training and mentoring, but the full end-to-end, including the execution on the platform and long-term support. And that's where us and the mentor team are here to deliver. Here's the team. Funnily enough, they're all on the call now. And as I say, you can find all of their individual profiles. If you go to the online mentoring on sourcinginvestments.co.uk, the training mentoring area, you'll see videos of all of these special people on the call, a little bit of an outtakes as well, to realize that they are human beings. And as I say, we've got a lot of professionalism between us. And it's not just about, again, we're talking about how you learn. And this is something that we like to show all of our mentees, which is around about how you learn. It's okay just stood there listening and being lectured at. And if you look at the top here, being lectured at or just reading, you've got about a 10 to 5% retention rate. Where we want to be moving is all the way up to the bottom, where we start talking about practice by doing, which we are massive advocates of, and more importantly, teaching others. And part of the mentorship program now is about a team environment. And so therefore, within the team, it's about teaching others what you have learned. And suddenly your retention rates will be up in the 80 to 90% mark. And we've executed this. We've done some, Adam and I have been live mentoring today with some guys, and we've been implementing this and just seen some massive retention. And so therefore, it's not just about listening to somebody who, as a mentor, has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. It's now about how it can be translated to you. So we're very much into how you learn, not just about what you learn. So this is a concept which is I've actually put together in a formal slide. And this is about new ideas and information. And more importantly, letting you guys understand that this is about learning a new industry. You will not learn that in 3 days. You will not. I'm sorry, you just will not. Even if the amount of information that is presented to you, you cannot consume that. So any new ideas and information, which are represented by these dots here, when you learn, you slowly start making connections between things. And we understand this psychology aspect of learning. We've got massive influence from Adam here, being a teacher himself. And therefore, slowly but surely, you will understand the context, understand the different information you've got, and how those join together into a new learning and execution. And that leads to a fully formed learning, and therefore your ability to then combine that with sourcing investments to apply not only what you've learned, but have the support around you long term. What are our areas of business mentoring? Strategy setting on the ground. We are now using our technology of 360-degree cameras to do walk around properties. You're going to learn from these guys who are on the call now, more importantly, what to look out for, and more importantly, what questions to ask members of your team. We're not just looking at the business of teaching you investing in the UK. We want to understand your personal and life structuring, how we're going to set your goals. This is about you. This is about you learning new stuff, but more importantly, you and how you're going to build that into your life and achieve the goals you want to. And more importantly, bottom right is the ongoing support. And this is an entire year we are here to work with you. And typically, most of our mentees go on for much longer than that. And as I say, you build up friendships and trust over a long term. What you will learn, and we're going to go through this, but not in intrinsic detail, but we have 14 modules, which again, at different rates, at different speeds, but you'll be learning all of these aspects in a lot of detail over a 6-month period. And the 6-month period allows you to learn, understand the theory, apply it yourself, and then execute. And this is the best way of learning for sure. And more importantly, as I say, how you then take that learning to actually be a success like Bowen, like Bonnie's been done with Bowen, etc. How do you get that confidence and mindset in order to believe in yourself and the learnings and create a plan and execute? So these are the 14 areas that we cover. We talk about the theory. It's definitely about example, and then it's about you applying. And more importantly, again, with all of this, this is now ability with the technology that we have is allowing you to do this online from where you are sat anywhere around the world. We can set up bank accounts. We can set up accountancy firms with accountancy services to allow you to set up your companies, etc. You can do this all remotely. This is an example of the thought and strategic learning that goes into it. You'll see that the areas of learning are broken down into knowledge, strategic, operational, assessing, and applying. And this is how your journey and mentorship is not just about what you're learning on mentorship, the preparation prior to mentorship and execution and support after. This is happening live right now. Like I said, Adam and I have just come off this. This is 3 professional athletes who play rugby for London Irish. Matt Rogerson, George Knott, and Stephen Myler. Stephen played for England a few times. I think he's got about 15 caps. So these guys are not just anybody. And the greatest quote that has come out of George, and they're just finishing their first few stages of the mentorship. It will continue for the next year. Is I've learned more from Chris, and I should put Adam in there for the first 2 days of mentorship that I have in my entire 3 years of my university degree. So it's really heartwarming for Adam and myself to actually know that what we designed and applying is being absolutely taken on board. And this is by professional athletes who tomorrow could hurt themselves and needed career. Because, as I say, there's not much support in their game. And these guys have taken a step forward to come on the SI mentorship program. And therefore, this is just to highlight what is happening right now. And you should be a part of that. So what are the benefits? You can learn from anywhere now. This is not about coming to London, coming to anywhere in the UK. The entire comprehensive program uses the latest technologies, allowing you to benefit effective learning and, more importantly, applying from anywhere in the world. You've got no waiting. You don't have to wait or be scheduled. There's no travel costs. For typically you coming into the UK, you're going to have extra costs of not just the mentorship, but in the region of flights, extra days that you stay could be in the region of £1,500 per person. There's none of that now. And more importantly, we're not going to compromise on any of the quality. It's actually a better program than actually face-to-face because we're rushed around a 3-day program. This is a much more comprehensive, structured program over 6 months, and it can be done in a short period of time. And it's not just for people who think they are only just starting out. This is about for advanced users as well. If you've already been on a mentorship elsewhere, this is about working as a team, as a unit for more advanced learning and strategies. So you'll never have to compromise, including that up to 2 mentors will be with you throughout the process. And you will meet all the power teams, you will meet all of your business setup criteria, and you'll be able to execute as soon as you want to and feel comfortable with the long-term support as well. What is included? Strategy call, access to your own training platform, 30 hours of live training. You work as units in 4. You are going to be learning from your power teams as extra add-ons, so that's not included in 30 hours. You get 30-day and 90-day challenges to make you accountable, and more importantly, you get 1 year post-mentorship support. And all the way through this, you have access to the Sourcing Investments financial technology platform, which allows you to execute from afar. So pretty good what's included. The key ins now for all people on the call, and I'm glad you've stayed. We've got quite a few people here. It's now about, you've got a 1 year mentorship program. You learn and work as a team, which is real life. You've got the advantage of taking advantage of the market that is now, and also you can now take control yourself. You've got over 65 years of property investing experience just on this call here. I'm not going to say who's the most or how old people are, but that's quite a lot of experience to take advantage of. And you've got a 6-month learning program, which you are doing the 1 day every month. And more importantly, in between that, you're going to be executing, learning, and doing a lot of work in between those days. And you can advance quickly if you want to. And you work this out with your mentorship team. These are the typical prices as it is now. This is today only. So a typical 1-person mentorship is £3,958. If you bring a second person, this is going to be £1,979. If you bring that second person, that's 50% off. So therefore, as a combined unit, you're getting a total of 25% off each, that major price. We do have other additional add-ons, which includes you doing a UK orientation tour. But again, that's not really for this call now. And so therefore, what you've got is an opportunity now to take advantage of this. If you bring a second person, you can get 50% off that second person and share the benefits. For 2 people, that's £2,968 each. But we're not going to stop there today. So I think we've got nearly 30 people on the call. We've got this offer today, and this is available for the next 24 hours only. So not only can you bring a second person, but you can now bring the second person with the 50% off and also receive today an additional 20% off the first person. That is an unbelievable opportunity for the people on this call today in the next 24 hours to take advantage of this. So for 2 people, for today only, you can get an entire package for £5,145. That's £2,572 each. This is for today only. This is for our launch. We're already mentoring people, but we wanted to get this out there for you guys for today. There's a lot of questions coming in right now, and I appreciate that, but just going to finish up. So that's for today only. If you like what the team is saying, what you like, you have confidence, you've got questions, you've now got the opportunity now to take advantage of this today. To take advantage, you now need to go to the Sourcing Investments website. You need to go to the online mentoring area, and you need to go and click on register and demo. So please go to this link, which is in the Sourcing Investments major menu. So go to the homepage, check out the online mentorship, and you need to click on register and demo. We are able to
paste the link into the chat box, maybe.
Yeah, I think I should be able to do that.
People can just click on that and they'll go directly.
I am going to try and do that. I haven't got the event. I can't do that right now.
Okay.
So please, I'll do that after. But please go to, for the next 24 hours, you can register. We will see who registers for the demonstration. There's no money down yet. And this starts off at, we're going to do this offer spaced over 6 months. So you will pay the £2,400 of what we just offered over 6 payments over the next 6 months. So if somebody wants to do the calculation for me, that will be fantastic. But more importantly, it's not just a one-off payment. You're going to pay it as you go along over the 6 months. So for anybody interested in this offer, please register for a demonstration, and we will understand who you are, and you therefore we can see when you registered, and you will receive the offer only. You will also need to send an email to admin@Sourcing Investments confirming if you're bringing a second person to you. So please give that email of who the second person, if you have a partner in crime. So please send that over to the team so they can understand who that is. So that's what we've got. And it's now up to you. We have a referrer scheme as well. So if this is of interest to yourself or any other people that you may know who are not on this call, please contact us. We have a referrer scheme as well. But for today only, you have that opportunity of the offer. And this is for the one-year mentorship program. We are very excited to have you as part of this. If you go and do this in the next 24 hours, it is now open. You can now register for a demo. Please tell people this is a one-time opportunity, and that payment can be spread over 6 months as well. So it's not hurting you on a cash flow basis. What we're offering here today is something exceptional. I'm very proud to be able to offer that. This is something that the team are massively a part of. It's about learning together. It's about executing together and that long-term support. So we're very excited to offer that. Thank you, Frank. We've got a question. What will be the mentorship? When will it start again? The mentorship will start. It starts every month on the 24th of every month is when you need to be registered by. And the first Friday of every month is when it will be executed. And we will give you more details should you be interested in this opportunity and give you a lot more granular detail. We've been talking for an hour, so I do apologise for running over by half an hour, but it was very excited to be able to get that over to you all. Mark, yes.
Chris, you mentioned in your introduction there that it is possible to run the mentorship over a shorter period. Presumably, would that be somebody coming with a group of 4 saying they want to do it over 3 months or 6 weeks or whatever, and then you could accommodate that for a group of 4 if they come as a 4? Is that right?
Correct. So again, we will work as a 4. We will work as individuals if they come along. Individuals today, if it's only you don't have to bring a partner. You still get the 20% off today, which I'm offering you. And so therefore, please spread that out. But if you bring a partner, then obviously it's much more advantageous for you both to get the benefit of working together. And if you want to bring larger groups, which we've already had interest over already, I can see, of groups wanting to come, then please, from your perspective, register, get your names down over the next 24 hours so we can see who takes advantage of this opportunity, and email admin@Sourcing Investments for any more information that you need. We're going to do this for the next 24 hours. We're very excited. If you do have any questions, please ask us. We're here to help, but we're very excited to offer that. So please spread the word. This is about quality, it's about delivery, and it's about these beautiful people right here working with you lot who are on the call. So I think all I can say is thank you so much. Here we go. Oh, what about already mentees? Here we go. We have Frank and we have David. So you will have access to a lot of the information that the SI team provide in your private training areas. We have our own coaching, and also we have our own videos, which are a lot of the advanced training that we've been doing on private webinars. You'll have access to that. At the end of the day, the long-term aspects and support of this should counteract anybody wanting to do online courses and stuff like that. This is about real-world people, real-world execution, and with that long-term support, you don't have that pressure now of having to do online courses and whatever you. This is about you and about longer-term support, and so therefore you don't have that pressure. So Frank, please ask those questions. For anybody else, if you've got any other companies that have been cancelled, please reach out to us, register your interest. Please get anybody else to register their interest. It's for people on this call, but we will, if you want to bring a partner, you can bring those partners, and we will definitely, commit to the offer that there is today. I don't think there's anything else to say apart from we'll do definitely some more Q&A. And we were going to do a 60 seconds to have a bit of fun. I think, no, come on, let's do it. No, we're going to do it. Mark thought he was going to get away with that.
I've got to go. We've got another appointment.
No, you don't. Right. So we're going to do this with Mark. We've already done it with Anthony before. Everybody else is laughing. Mark doesn't know what's coming. So we're going to put Mark in focus. This is for a bit of fun. But again, if anybody's got any questions, email us. We're going to do the usual. Put 60 seconds on the clock. Mark in focus, and we'll have a bit of a giggle.
I do reserve the right to plead the fifth.
Oh no, there's no fifth. You're English, so that doesn't count. So are you ready with 60 seconds on the clock?
Yeah.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
What favourite country have you been to on holiday?
On holiday, probably Australia.
Rock, paper, or scissors?
Rock.
Fill in the blank. Justin Bieber is
A singer.
You're such a politician. I love it. What's your favourite movie ever?
Die Hard, the original.
Oh, quality. Love that. Are you a morning or a night person?
Morning.
Cold or hot?
Hot.
What's the first thing you do in the morning when you get up?
Clean my teeth.
What's the last item you purchased?
Last item I purchased. That'll be a bottle of milk for my mum yesterday.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how cool are you?
Off the scale.
What colour's your toothbrush?
White and blue.
If you could meet a hero or a famous person and have dinner with them, who would it be and why?
Cher, because I think she's a remarkable woman, and I'd love to know more about her life story.
Is that all? How many books have you read so far this year?
3.
What were they?
One on negotiations, one somebody's story of their journey in property, and one was a Brian Clough biography.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs, every step of the way.
And what would you do if you didn't have to do work tomorrow? What would you do?
This time of year, I would like to go and watch cricket, but that's not going to be possible. So I guess potter around in the garden. Brilliant.
Love it. Old school. Well, that's 60 seconds with Mark. Thank you so much, mate. That's awesome. Thank you so much, team, for spending time here. I'm sure everybody's appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, all the actions, please go to the online mentoring, register for a demonstration, and anybody's in there in the next 24 hours will be subject to this offer. We're very excited to offer it. We've got the next mentorship series starting, as I say, next month. So please, 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 any questions? Let's take action and let's make a difference. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, team. Really appreciate it. You take care of yourselves and have a lovely day, everybody. And stay safe and take care. Cheers, all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.